open on Steam, so it may take a
5
moment. But this is
remaining.
Doh Duh versus I Don't Think So Tim, or
Dire
just
team
Tim,
ban.
because I'm not going to say that every single time. Winter Wyvern, the first ban of the series by DD, and we'll see how the draft develops. I suspect things like Rubik,
Radiant
Disruptor,
team ban.
Clock, of course, being banned out. High priority heroes are like Terrorblade and Dragon Knight, Witch Doctor, Gyro, all very popular at the moment. Sand King, I kind of expect to be banned. Naga Siren, I'd be surprised to see get through the first phase of picks or bans. If she's unbanned,
10
I expect her to be
seconds
picked
remaining.
right away.
Dire team ban.
So give me a second to help coordinate something with my co-caster so that we can actually communicate with one another. I actually have no idea how to get in touch with this person.
Ban.
Oh, and Tinker, of course, banned out. Although the movement speed nerf for Tinker was respectable.
Dire team ban.
Omni Knight also going to be banned out. Tusk still in the pool. Naga Siren still in the pool. Rubik, Witch Doctor. All heroes that are very high priority at the moment. All supports as well. Forgive me if you're watching in game. I am tabbing out quite a lot to try to get in touch with this person who is sitting in my casting room channel. I suppose they are, which this does not bother
10
me.
seconds remaining.
Anyways, DD with the
Dire
first
team
pick. I
pick.
expect something like Tusk or Razor, actually another high priority pick. But again, Tusk and Naga, very, very good right now, especially the Naga Siren. Meteor Hammer is an amazing item on that hero. And I'd, again, be so
Dire
surprised
team
to see
pick.
her slip through. But they're going to grab the Shadow Shaman, another fairly popular support. Fallen out of favor a little bit with the couple of nerfs he got. He doesn't trade as well in the lane. His right clicks are still really good, but his spells most of them got nerfed. Either Shock and his
10
Shackles
seconds
did
remaining.
anyway, so he's fallen out of favorability a bit. I would like to see
5
Naga or
seconds
Tusk.
remaining.
DD I think should probably pick up the Naga or the Tusk. I don't think so. Could probably get away with it. Gyrocopter also still in the pool. Terrorblade also still in the pool if they wanted to pick a high value, high priority core. Something that is likely to be banned out in the following phases. DD, the Razor could go mid, could go safe lane, could even off lane. We'll see. It's a very flexible pick. And there's not a ton of really hard Razor counters, so I think it's fine to pick it so early. And I appreciate it when teams do pick up their cores early. Some of the best counter picks in the game are supports. Some of the most situational heroes in the game are supports. So by picking your supports early, you kind of, in a way, open up the enemy team to pick more greedy stuff. And then Spirit Breaker picked up by Tim. So that's going to be an incredibly aggressive early game coming out from them. Again, I'd like to see DD pick up a Naga Siren. It can go aggressive. It has great defensive capability thanks to the net. Can also scout with illusions.
10 seconds
Riptide
remaining.
is a great
Dire team
harassment
ban.
spell. And DD are just going to pick up Jakiro, though. Another high damage, good harass hero in the lane. So both teams kind of leaning towards the early game at the moment. We'll see how they shape up. I like DD's Razor and Jakiro picks quite a lot. The Jakiro is going to make whatever offlaner they're playing against struggle
10
mightily
seconds remaining.
against him. And the Spirit Breaker, though, and the Shaman, unless
5
Tidehunter is picked
seconds
by
remaining.
DD, it could be pretty nasty for the offlaner. Or like Puck, also either something really mobile or something tanky like the Tide with the Kraken Shell can get away from hard CC. Still a lot of good heroes in the pool. Dragon Knight available, Gyrocopter, Terrorblade, Bane. Just a lot of
Radiant
very
team
strong heroes.
ban.
Anti-Mage being removed by Tim. If DD is setting up for the early mid game with the heroes that they have, which they very well could do, and Anti-Mage could find a home on the Radiant draft. And Tim might look to something like a Medusa now that they've banned out that Anti-Mage, and DD could ban it themselves if they're afraid of that Medusa. Could
10
also pick it
seconds
themselves if
remaining.
they want to go a sort of 4 protect 1 style where we have these 4
5
really good
seconds
mid game
remaining.
heroes and then 1 really great late game hero. Or they could just focus all the way on early and mid game. Grab a
Dire team
gyrocopter. And
ban.
DD do in fact ban out that Medusa. Luna still in the pool, another hero that I've seen fairly frequently. Terrorblade, also another one of those really good late game cores. Faceless Void has had a bit of a spike in his popularity. DD are going to be looking for a support though, so definitely a 4 position like a Naga, a
10
Tusk,
seconds remaining.
Witch Doctor. So there's plenty of options available
5
for
seconds remaining.
DD and Tim. Currently, with their aggression, could definitely punish
Radiant
greedy
team
heroes like the
ban.
Draw Ranger even, and DD with 2 ranged could have quite possibly picked that up. It's a safety ban. Don't really want to get drowed. Although Spirit Breaker is very good against the Draw Ranger, as is the Shadow Shaman. And then OD, the final second phase ban by DD and Tim, waiting for their first phase pick, waiting for their cores, likely to pick an offlaner or a mid here. Many of these teams will save their safe lane carry till the last pick when I try to get it uncountered, but you could just pick an uncounterable safe lane. A la Razor, Gyrocopter
10
doesn't
seconds
really have
remaining.
counters. He's Luna also fairly difficult to counter, and
5
with the supports that
seconds
you have
remaining.
backing them up, it will be incredibly difficult for any offlaner or even an aggressive tri-lane to punish your safe
Radiant
lane.
team pick.
But Tim are going to go with the Tide Under themselves, deny it from DD. Another bit of control, so many stuns on Tim, and DD going to have to pick up BKBs on all of their cores. Or, yeah, Omni Knight is banned, so none of that.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Now waiting for DD's first pick of this second phase. They're looking decent at the moment. They're very it's very open. No team really first picks something situational unless they had great success with it a game prior and decide, okay, it's going to be banned, let's pick it. Like sometimes Lycan will get first picked, or Ursa, or even Huskar. Never Huskar. No one ever first picks Huskar. But basically, if you're afraid of respect bans, so this is the first game of this series, so unlikely to see any of that, except maybe if these teams have scrimmed against each other, maybe some of those little bit obscure bans like the Wyvern and the Night Stalker, and even Slardar has fallen a bit out of favorability. Maybe it explains
team
those,
pick.
but DD are going to be going for Sand King, another one of those popular heroes at the moment. So much utility, lots of AoE damage, and a great stun, something that DD were a little bit missing in their team. Sure, Ice Path is excellent long range, but a bit unreliable at times, and not particularly long duration. A bit better, it feels like, for zoning, as it
seconds
does stick
remaining.
around for a little while. Great against the Spirit Breaker, though, the Ice Path.
5 seconds remaining.
With the Sand King, though, there's even more mid-game, early-game kill potential for DD. Their tower hitting also looking very, very good, as is Tim's with that Shadow Shaman, although the rest of their heroes not particularly great at killing these towers.
Radiant team
Meanwhile, though,
pick.
Tim are going to pick up their Juggernaut, a very flexible core. Probably could go Battle Fury if your lane goes well, could go SNY if you don't think it's going to be, if you're not getting the farm. There's a lot of viable build paths for the hero, and he scales respectably well. Did just get nerfed. His
10 seconds
crit
remaining.
is now a bit weaker.
5 seconds remaining.
DD waiting on their next pick. Again, not sure if this Razor is mid or safe. I doubt it is the offlane. They could offlane a Sand King, or they could pick another offlaner for themselves like the Brewmaster, who, again, fallen a little bit out of favorability. Or they could pick something like the Puck or a Beastmaster. I would actually really like to see Puck or Beastmaster picked for them. The Beastmaster gives them a great single target stun that pierces Juggernaut's spin. He can farm with his boars. He provides excellent vision against the Spirit Breaker. Not so great against the Tide. And if you are worried about the Tide, you can go for the Puck. Dream Coil, an excellent stun. AoE, great silence. Very, very hard to kill in the lane. If he manages his spells properly, can just dodge the Spirit Breaker charge stun, but with an instant Hex or a Shackle, he could just die anyway. So it's going to be a difficult offlane regardless.
Dire team ban.
But DD are going to grab their mid in the Death Prophet, which means this is a safe lane Razor. Or it could again be an offlane Razor, but I don't think they will offlane the Razor. Not against this. It's feeding, waiting to happen. And
10
DD
seconds remaining.
looking for their offlaner now. Meanwhile, Tim going to be looking
5
for their
seconds
mid.
remaining.
And they could still pick the Puck mid if they wanted it. Viper also still available. Dragon Knight, though, is looking decent for Tim, and we'll see if DD acknowledges that hero's in the pool. Gives them excellent mid-game fighting, scales fairly well, lanes reasonably against the Death Prophet. If once you get a couple points in the Dragon Blood, it's going to be rough for him at the start, but he will eventually get a little bit better. PL, meanwhile, banned out by Tim, expecting a core, it would seem, or DD will run 2-1-2s, in which case they might run a greedier off lane. I don't really like that though. It makes it so there's less farm on the map for your team once you start grouping. It makes it so grouping isn't really efficient unless you're getting kills and towers and roches and whatever.
5 seconds remaining.
Meanwhile, Tim have an incredibly not greedy team. The only hero that really needs farm on their team is the Juggernaut, and now Sniper going to be banned. A little bit worried about that running in the mid perhaps, and reasonably so. I think the Sniper would lane very well against the Death Prophet and cause quite a few problems for the Sand King. And DD waiting for their offlane pick. There's a... it's hard to say, but I think Puck, Beastmaster, Brewmaster, Bat might not be terrible either.
5 seconds remaining.
I like Puck because it's some more control. Bat Rider could be great against Juggernaut. Another one of those spell immunity piercing stuns. Hard lane for him, but he could always go farm the jungle. That's the greatest strength of the hero, is that, or Underlord also in there as one of those really tanky brick walls of an offlaner. But still killable by a Shadow Shaman and a Spirit Breaker. If anyone, and a Juggernaut, if anyone could do it, they could. But DD are going to lock in on an Enigma. Interesting. Could one of those... I wonder if they've just said, all right, the off lane, it's done, it's dead. We send Enigma there, he can deny that creep, get some XP, farm a little bit with those Eidolons, and simultaneously wander into the jungle periodically to find the jungle farm, to get a little bit more gold, a little bit more XP, and be safe. And then Bloodseeker, the last pick for Tim. That's going to be their mid. A rough lane to be sure against the Death Prophet, but a lot of potential damage, a lot of silences, and they certainly have the control to make some ganks happen. The Rupture going to be very, very good against Death Prophet and Razor especially. Those heroes want to follow you, stick onto you, and Rupture makes it very difficult to do so. However, we're going to see if DD are going to be able to execute their draft. I think their draft is a little bit... it's interesting. It has a lot of team fight potential and a lot of mid-game potential, but things are looking a little bit rough if it goes fairly late. Tim has a Juggernaut, which just outscales the Razor pretty well. Bloodseeker also scaling pretty effectively, but you can't underestimate the power of a well-placed black hole. So we're getting ready for this first game, and I believe it's best of 2. It could be best of 3. I'm not sure. DD versus Tim. Looking at it, I slightly favor the Dire draft, but an Enigma, a bit of a wild card pickup, could mean anything. And now we are looking at both teams getting started here, and on the side of the Radiant, DD, their captain, and a son playing the Enigma. Death Prophet being played by Itachi. Razor being played by Adifex, the Beardbarian. Jin, or Nicklet, is playing the Sand King, and Jin, the twin-headed dragon, the Jakiro. Meanwhile, on the Dire, Young Mouse playing the Juggernaut. Nadiak playing, I think that's how that's pronounced, playing the Tide Hunter. Shadow Shaman being played by Ceres. The Space Cow is being played by Gallo. And then last but not least, the Bloodseeker, whose lane is going to be difficult to be sure, unless his support secure it for him, is Kruger. Both teams look like they're mostly posturing defensively, just want to get their bounty runes safely. They don't really want to make any waves, I guess. Oh, actually the Dire look like they're invading this bot one, and it's just going to be Razor. This could mean that 3 bounty runes go the way of the Dire, netting 120 gold per hero and about 600 gold total. Razor sees that they're at his bounty rune. Looks like Adifex is going to walk towards theirs, though, and might actually be able to get it. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to snag it. So it's going to be a 2-for-2 bounty rune exchange. Oh, nope, the Spirit Breaker was there ready to pick it up, and Adifex going to be left out to dry, getting a drain onto the Tide, but yeah, it's a pretty hefty drain, although it's just rank 1, so not a ton of total damage. But still, stealing 50 damage at level 1 means it's going to be pretty easy for him to get some of that farm, unless it's going to wear out, though, before the creep wave really gets there. So 3 bounties going the way of the Dire means that they get 3. That's 120 gold each. So the Shadow Shaman has had his ward and a courier paid for, mostly. So he's going to be pretty happy with that. Meanwhile, Young Mao's going to have a bit of a start, and it looks like DD running an aggressive tri-lane here to secure space for their Enigma. And they know that Razor's not really going to have a problem against this Tide Hunter. It'll even likely force the Spirit Breaker to go up top and do a try versus try situation where, with the help of the Eidolons and the AoE damage coming out from the Sand King and Jakiro, the Radiant will likely win in an aggressive tri-lane situation until a couple levels are gained. But it looks like they may have messed up their warding a little bit here. Got 2 sentries and 2 observers, and if that Shadow Shaman has managed to pull out a sentry ward, he gets a ton of value. Spirit Breaker standing behind this Death Prophet, now charging her from back behind her own tower. Jumps forward, only gets that first hit bash, or the charge stun, I should say, but the drain going to come out, and now Itachi going to do a lot of damage to Gallo. Gallo getting drained up quite a lot, but should be able to get away. He's fairly fast, fairly tanky, but not at all how they wanted that gank to go. However, farm staying relatively even. The Blood Rage makes it pretty hard for the Death Prop to CS against them. And again, top going to be really interesting. Bot likely to be pretty unexciting. Razor can kill Tide, but it's a hard kill. He needs a lot of terrain, but the Spirit Breaker charging into him, especially if Tide does grab a point in the Gush, unlikely to do so. Could find some pretty good damage, but he's just going to be grabbing these bounty runes. Wants to get his levels as fast as he can. Get the bash, get the Nether Bash. Greater Bash, I don't know why I called it Nether Bash. It's Nether Strike is his ultimate. Now, he is TPing back up to the top lane, so it looks like DD have found what they want. They forced them back, and with the Enigma denying that creep, every wave, the range creep getting denied is going to really hinder the Dire. And really help his teammates, but it looks like he spoke a little bit too soon. Razor did with his drain snag 112 damage, and on top of that, a first blood. And that's exactly how he was going to get that first blood if it were to happen in this lane. And shame that I missed that, but Anna looks and finds Ceres, gets the Malefice off. There's a charge coming in on the sinking. A nice Ice Path does manage to connect. A Burst Strike coming in as well. Spirit Breaker arrives, but a little bit too late, and now himself could be in serious trouble. There's a lot of damage here. They don't have another Ice Path in just a few seconds. The Burst Strike also coming up soon. Gallo looks like he might just die here. There's a Burst Strike, the Ice Path. They do stack those stuns though, but it looks like it's going to be enough with just right-click damage coming in. The Malefice and a double kill for Nicklet, the Sand King. Going to grab his brown boots if he wants, and has 2 mangoes, so a lot of health regen for him. And this tri-lane going phenomenal for DD. And it's really going to come down to the mid. If this Bloodseeker is able to get 6 really fast, get a first item or 2 really early, and maybe even kill the Death Prophet, then perhaps he can swing the game in his team's favor, but it's not looking too great. Razor at level 5. The level 6 on Razor isn't this horrifying, terrible thing. It's good, but it's not like getting a Ravage or anything. And Tide's still doing fine on levels and dying once or twice in the off lane. Certainly no disaster. But Natiak needs to be careful. 112 damage stolen once again. Spirit Breaker getting hit by an Ice Path and infused range ups, absorbing some of that damage. Liquid Fire. It's also Burst Strike coming out, but he charges away. Towards that Death Prophet? No, he does cancel it. Nicklet still pursuing, but unlikely to find anything. He has a Burrow Strike. It's only rank 1, so he's probably not going to find it. But man, Adifex just deep diving the Gush coming out, taking a lot of damage from those towers. Now spotted a charge coming forward. They do see him thanks to that Bloodseeker, so the Spirit Breaker will be able to get in there. The Soul Ring is available as well as a Mango, so they have another Gush if they want it. He should not use the Soul Ring though. Wants to be careful for that damage. He'll get right-clicked. Needs to back off. The Plasma Field will connect onto him. Should have probably eaten the Mango as opposed to the Soul Ring so that he could have gone in on that, could have safely committed without worrying about dying. Then he could have gushed, anchor smashed, and Plasma Field does more damage the further away you are, so it wouldn't have done a ton of damage if he was in melee range. He was just afraid of getting right-clicked, which is certainly fair. Razor had stolen about 50 damage, and he only had about 200 HP. Things going pretty well for Kruger in the mid, though. He's about got that level 6, has just now snagged it. Spirit Breaker with a DD rune. They may make a play on this Death Prophet. a charge and a rupture. She'll have to be forced back to her tower. Defensive rotations could come in though. TP on Jakiro and on Sand King. Speaking of, they're going in onto the Juggernaut. The Shackles come out onto one. The Malefice doing a lot of damage. The spin will break that Malefice. And the spin, Nicklet should be able to get away. Young Mouse also going to be just fine, but it looks like they're trying to pursue somehow. Salve popped by Mouse. Ice Path, not going to connect. They don't have Midnight Pulse, and Jug is relatively healthy now, has a healing word as well. This fire coming in. Nice double burrow strike. Shackles immediately canceled. Young Mouse pops the healing word, trying to keep himself healthy, but is killed off by Nick. The Malefice doing a lot of damage, but Nick, one more right click from the Shadow Shaman will do the trick, and they will get him, but it's a 1-for-1 favoring DD. And in the mid, it looks like a dive forward onto the Death Prophet. Gets killed by Gallo at the tail end of that DD route, and back to go into Ceres. Anna finding that double kill. 3 heroes dying across the map, 2 Dire, 1 Radiant, and things are looking grim for the Dire in the early phase of this lane. However, the lane that needs to go well is going well. That the Bloodseeker having a great time so far, and his Rupture cooling down in just about 30 seconds. He may look for something else when it comes back up, but Juggernaut dying is not good. He is 0 and 1, but the Shadow Shaman I think has died just twice. Sandstorm now trying to farm up. It's so slow at level 1 to farm with the Sandstorm. I think it's more efficient for him to just stack. Should probably let that go. I wonder if he is going to try to stack it. And Adifex finding a kill at the bot, but Razor looks like he's going to pay with his life. And Gallo suddenly finds himself with a bit of gold, can grab his Windlace or his Ring of Regen. The Ring of Regen probably a little bit better. Just does stuff for you right away. Going to be trying to get that Urn of Shadows as soon as you can. But Death Prophet in the mid gets gone on. The second the Rupture comes up, they throw it at her, and she just dies underneath her tower. And this Bloodseeker, he's putting in all of this work, and he really needs to if he wants to keep his team in this game. Get the gold graph. It's just barely in favor of Tim by about 1k, thanks largely in part to this Bloodseeker, who is farming very well, farming way more than this Death Prophet, denying her rather significantly as well. And level 8 on top of him. He's got 40 CS, doing really well so far on this Blood. Anna, 13 CS and a tri-lane, not bad, but the Jug, even though he's died, farming well, so that death may not be the end of the world for him. And the Tidehunter found that Ravage too, so a charge forward in mid onto one. The Ice Path's going to come out as well. Bloodseeker on the prowl, Sand King solo, one more hit, does the trick. The Liquid Fire coming out, and we'll back off. Gallo going to be just fine. A TP from Ceres just to be safe. Tidehunter's Ravage is up in about 70 seconds, so we may see a rotation then. Anna closing in on that 6, about halfway there. Young Mouse going to find it soon, and if Anna's not in his creep wave when that ult comes out, he will die to the Omni Slash.
Invisibility.
So Young Mouse trying to get that Battle Fury, taking a lot of damage from these Eidolons though, and he's really cautious. Underestimating their damage is dangerous mistake to make. Good Bloodseeker with Invis. Now a Rupture as well. A charge coming forward onto Itachi. She's moving away from her tower too. No TP as well. The Rupture could just be a quick and easy kill, but he's just waiting for that Spirit Breaker to arrive. I think Itachi sees him coming. Needs to be cautious. He's trying to run back, but the Rupture comes out. The Invis, the Blood Right as well. And now he's put blood on himself, doing a lot of damage. One more right click will do the trick, and he goes down. A killing spree for Kruger. So much damage. Meanwhile, Adifex chases down this Tidehunter relentlessly and kills him off. So both teams finding kills, finding farm in their various lanes, but I'm a little worried for DD. Going into team fights against the Ravage could be very dangerous, although they have a black hole soon, and actually it just comes up. Oh, they found Nick. The Shackle's coming out. Spin doing a lot of damage. He has Omni Slash. Doesn't want to commit it, though. He has the Burrow Strike. Can't get away with Eat a Shock. Finishes him off, and now he might put the Omni Slash. Goes it on Enigma. Enigma going to go down, too. There's 3 slashes. Make quick work of the Enigma. And Young Mouse finds himself with a kill and an assist. And a 2k gold lead for his team. Overall net worth very even between the Bloodseeker and the Razor. Both these heroes are farming well and finding kills in their respective lanes. Death Prophet rotating up top. A charge going on to Itachi. He doesn't really want to be here. A TP coming in from Sand King as well. Drain onto Gallo. Young Mouse in position, but doesn't want to go in on that. Enigma TPing in as well. Has a black hole. It looks like they should find Gallo. The Malefice and a couple more right clicks should do the trick. Crypt Swarm for good measure. The Spirit Breaker out to pasture. Bites off a little bit more than he could chew in that lane.
Thank you,
Did get an aggressive. Nope, that ward's been there. I'm really not sure what he was doing there. I guess he was just trying to go for the bounty, saw the Death Prophet, and thought maybe he could get a kill, but very greedy to do so. Bloodseeker at level 10, grabbing his attack speed talent. They put Razor up against him, and this is an incredibly unfavorable matchup for the Bloodseeker. The Drain coming out as well. Razor has his ult, doesn't popped it just yet. Rupture is available. A lot of damage onto Kruger. Pops the Rupture onto the Razor. Razor now ults. Bloodright is available if he wants it. Throws it down onto Adifex. Adifex. There's a bunch of TPs coming in. Ravage is available as well. A nice Ravage catches onto 4 heroes. A ton of damage. The Hex onto the Razor. Razor getting very, very low. Still has Rupture on him a little. Oh, just ended with the Earnest Shadows doing a lot of damage. The Grip's going to come out as well. The Death Prophet ult. It flies forward. They do burn down that Razor. And Gallo looks like he's in a dangerous position, but the Shaman wards deter any sort of chase, and Ice Path not going to latch. A lot of commitment from both sides for just 1 kill on either side. Ana has not left his lane. Neither has this Juggernaut. Neither has Mouse. But a lot of flexing in the mid. A charge forward from the Spirit Breaker. Another strike comes out. Jakiro's stuck inside that Bloodright too. He's going to go down. Nicklet throws forward, but he gets hexed up immediately. The Burrow Strike. Gallo getting low. One more tower shot. Pops the Urn on himself, but it gets cancelled immediately. The Exorcism wearing out soon. Ana. Black Hole whips completely. Oh, that's a disastrous Black Hole. Channels it through all the way. Keeps himself, he committed to it at least. Respectable, but now they know that Black Hole is down for 3 minutes. Ravage will be up in 1.5 minutes. That means that now that they know that that's down, they are going to be a lot less afraid of any sort of rotation from this Enigma until they know that it's back up. And during that time, they may look to make some plays. This Rupture now only on a 42-second cooldown with the Arcane Rune. They might try to find something with it. And that Black Hole was important. The first few, in most games, the first Black Hole isn't a big deal. It's one of those you use it to solo kill. In this game, especially in a fight like that, a big fight breaking out with heavy commitment from both sides, you really want to get at least the 1 kill. If you don't, then the enemy team knows you're not going to have it when their ults are back, so they will likely go for a play immediately after the fact. Shadow Shaman up top, a charge forward going on to Jakiro. Jakiro, Nether Strike on cooldown for 20 seconds. They pop the Urn onto him. Shackles as well. There is a spin. Ana pops the Midnight Pulse. The Ice Path coming out, stunning on 2. Dual Breath as well, but it still loses to Jakiro. Death Prophet is here. Needs to be careful. Mouse has an Omni Slash if he wants to use it. Charge forward, connecting Urn of Shadows. Omni Slash, but it jumps to Enigma, saving the Death Prophet for the time being, but it just delays the inevitable. The Bloodright comes out, will not connect onto Enigma. They have the Shrine available. They pop the Rupture, doing a lot of damage. Nicklet trying to do what he can, but Ana's stuck in one position. He can't move. He's going to get cut down by the Blade Fury. And now Nicklet on the run, getting charged up, and he's going to get cut down as well, but Gallo finds that last hit. And they lose 3 heroes up at the top lane. 3 very important heroes, and Ice Path coming out, but it's just to try to deter any kind of further dive onto him. Speaking of dives, the Tidehunter getting dived by the Razor, wiped out. Adifex, the only one really able to hold on in this game at the moment, but the Razor not scaling particularly well. They're after him. He's trying to TP out, or needs to TP out, but it looks like they're not going to be able to get him. The Spirit Breaker is rather far away, and he will escape after killing that poor Tidehunter. But Tidehunter has mostly redeemed himself in the sense that he found a 4-man Ravage in mid that set up for a kill onto the Razor, which is the highest network Radiant hero. And it's creating a lot of space for his team, and Young Mouse closing in onto his Demon Edge, only about 1,000 gold away. Death Prophet is up here now. Burrow Strike forward, not going to latch on anything. They kill the Healing Ward, but are able to walk it off. These Shaman Wards again will kind of a bit of a deodorant of sorts, a deterrent. I was going to say, I wanted to say deodorant, and then I was like, no, I was dumb. Anyways, it's once you see those Shaman Wards, you don't really want to fight in them. They do a pretty hefty amount of damage. Sand King, he's in the neighborhood. No Omni Slash available. Shadow Shaman pinging out the Shrine. Tidehunter doing Ancients, wants to get his Blink Dagger, but going for a mech first. I really like the mech first Tidehunter builds. It's just very strong. Infused range up picked up on the jug will make him a difficult kill. Charge away from the Spirit Breaker. Gallo going to be just fine. Ravage is available. And Black Hole up in about 10 seconds, so it looks like they don't have to pay for Ana's whiff. But the next fight will still be difficult, as Omni Slash will be back up, as will the Ravage. They also do not have the Epicenter, and they do not have the Macro Pyre, so they're fighting without ults on 2 of their supports. A Drain onto Young Mouse, a charge forward on Immediate Hex. They have Shackles too. It does manage to connect. Nether Strike is available. Urn of Shadows up as well, but he's tanking Tower. Not going to need it to kill off that Razor. Now they might look for more, but they're in position to do so. Tidehunter walking around the long way, but he's just going down towards mid. Instead, TPing to the lane the Enigma's in. Gonna throw out an Anchor Smash, trying to farm up Enigma with the Helm of the Dominator. Going to also accelerate his farm, get a good aura for his teammates as well. So they get another big kill. Adifex overextending really far, actually. His team a little bit far off to defend him, and they still aren't quite there for the Jakiro ult or the Sand King ult. Two huge sources of damage for their team, and two of the biggest combo pieces for that black hole. Tidehunter about 700 gold away from his mechanism.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Itachi, no points in that silence just yet. His duel is completed soon, but he is very far behind. The Tidehunter is 0-4 and 2, and even on net worth with the Death Prophet. Anasan also not doing great in terms of farm on this Enigma. Wasn't able to jungle that much. Speaking of farming, Battle Fury completed on Young Mouse will rather significantly increase his farm. Meanwhile, the other heroes are just trying to catch up. This Razor with a fair amount of last hits, and most of his gold is coming from his kills. And he's farming pretty well too, actually. The 82 CS, that's pretty high up there compared to all these other heroes. But I'm not sure if they can fight yet. Even now, they do have the Sand King ult, and they do have the Macro Pyre. So it is possible now, and they're trying to last hit these Shaman wards. A bit of a throwaway there. Midnight Pulse to clear the trees, keep them from hiding in there. Bloodright coming in. Is it going to latch onto any heroes? It actually connects onto 3. If there was a creep wave there, they certainly could have engaged. Now this tier 1 looks like it's sort of going to go down. One Serpent ward left. They try to pull the creep wave back, but they will lose this tower. Bloodseeker getting the last hit. Immediate charge from the Spirit Breaker. He's under a tier 2 though. Pops his burrow. There's another strike, but not able to connect it onto anything. And his son in serious trouble. Isolated. Nicely done from the Bloodseeker, keeping that black hole out of the fight, knowing it's a significant part of their team fight. The best part of their team fight, their only real team fight. The Macro Pyre already committed. They have a Epicenter, but not want to commit it. Just get the Ravage. Catches on 3. And that's really bad. The Bloodright coming in as well. The Omni Slash doing a ton of damage. That's 2 kills, 3 kills for the Bloodseeker. Make it 4. It's an ultra kill. He might continue the pursuit too. He's very healthy, but a beautiful Ice Path canceling that. Another strike. Excellently done from Jin, but it's not enough to save his team. It looks like he might want it. He wants that Rampage to get the Urn onto him. He's just chasing in deep. Will he get this Rampage? So much damage from his blood. No Ice Path available either. One more hit, and it's a Rampage for Kruger. He committed quite a lot of resources to get it, but damn was it worth it. Now this tier 2 going to be going down as well. They have buyback on all of their heroes, but you don't want to buy back in a fight like this. You don't want to buy back at 18 minutes. They should be able to defend their tier 2 with the Epicenter on cooldown, Exorcism on cooldown. They have Black Hole, but without those spells, do they have the follow-up? Kruger getting extremely low, needs to back off. The healing ward keeping him alive for now. He pops his stick charges. There's an Urn up in just a couple seconds. Mechanism now done on the Tide as well. And a massive gold swing at 6k about. That was fat. It's been steady decline in favor of the Dire most of the game. But now it's plummeted in their favor with Bloodseeker and Juggernaut sitting at the top of the net worth. And it's 10k now in their favor. XP similarly is bad for DD. Young Mouse, I don't think he can die here. He can at least spin TP, and he just doesn't even need to spin TP. Just gets the TP, and he's out of there. Adifex pops that ult, but again, not an incredibly important ult. And Bloodseeker, Invis going for a BKB next. He might find a victim here. He sees the Jakiro. They don't have wards. A charge coming forward from the Bloodseeker. They want to be careful. The Ice Path coming out will stop a charge, and they back off. Drums also done on the Space Cow, Gallo. Blood prowling around, sees the Razor. They might make a play onto him. A charge forward, Rupture coming out as well. The blood right, and it looks like he's in trouble. Another strike, and he's done. Another kill on Adifex, and Bloodseeker pulls further and further away, bleeding the Radiant dry, quite literally, just denying them all of their farm. Anytime they get out of the base, they have to wonder, is Bloodseeker, do they have vision? Is our Spirit Breaker and Bloodseeker making a play on me? And it's happened so many times, and now they're removing the little bit of visions that they do have, and actually nicely placed ward there from the Radiant, able to catch that, or keep that I should say, and now making a push on the top lane. Ravage available, Black Hole, Exorcism, Macro Pyre. They have their full combo, but I don't know that they want to commit for just the tier 2. Wind Dagger not yet done on Ana, and we'll need it to set up for that. And now they're under smoke. Can move soon. They might make that play. It looks like the Dire are just going to back off. They have no idea where they are. There is no scan on the Dire. The Radiant do have theirs, though, but aren't going to use it. They just back off, kind of cut their losses type situation. And now Roshan could be on the menu. They do have a pretty fast way to kill it. They've got the Blood. They have a Jug. Healing Ward is about to die, but they could still kill it really, really fast. And they turn towards the pit. They pop the Blood Rage onto himself, and they're doing quite a lot of damage. This could be the moment, though. If Radiant figure out this is happening and they have their scan, but it looks like everybody's in the pit except for Ceres, then they could get a huge play on this. They're moving towards the pit. Do they know? Are they aware? They pop the drain onto the Shaman Illusion, and immediately the Dire back out of the pit. Shadow Shaman finding a good illusion rune, keeping himself safe. They see Roshan at about half. This could be their time to go for it. They have the Exorcism, and it could be worth popping the Blood Rage, the Hemorrhage, the Rupture, connecting onto Itachi. Itachi pops the heals onto himself, trying to keep himself healthy as long as he can. The Ice Path not going to do anything at the moment. They have a First Strike. The Epicenter doing so much damage. The Rap's just going to come through, though. They've lost Nick. The Omni Slash coming in as well. They've already lost the Death Prophet and the Razor as well. A Black Hole catches on 4 heroes in the Macro Pyres. A ton of damage with Ender Strike canceled from outside. A nice Ice Path trying to save his team as much as he can. He has the dual breath. He throws it out, but it's not going to be enough. The Shakiro Jin played so well, but it just doesn't matter. An excellently positioned Spirit Breaker canceling the Black Hole. Excellent plays from both sides. And it was really the Radiant's best hope. And now 15k gold in favor of Mouse Hero. No, Tim. In favor of Tim. And it is looking bad with that Aegis on their Juggernaut. High ground is their next objective. They may shove down the bot lane, get that bit of free gold for themselves, but man, just such impressive play from both sides. That Ravage coming out at just the right time, and it looked like such an amazing Black Hole inside the Macro Pyre, but it was just too late. That was his debut of that Blink Dagger 2. The unfortunate thing was Gallo perhaps sensed something was off, and really the MVP there. I don't know that they would have won that fight even with that Black Hole, but really significant. The Macro Pyre coming out, Midnight Pulse as well, a good way to deter any kind of push. It's really hard to push into that. Like you don't want to stand in the Midnight Pulse or the Macro Pyre ever. So it's good wave clear from them as well. So high ground not yet claimed. That means their shrines are safe. So Radiant still have a way back into this. We saw that Black Hole. Imagine if he got that Black Hole off with the Epicenter, with the Exorcism. But Itachi, a little bit too greedy, getting caught by that Bloodseeker's Rupture, just melts. The second he's off on the ground from that Eul's, he gets torn to shreds, bumped around by that Spirit Breaker, bleeds, and just there's really very little that he can do. He is going for a Linken's, though, try to buy himself that safety, but Bloodseeker could always pop the Linken's with the Blood Rage. Now, let's see what the Enigma is up to with it going for a BKB, but Nether Strike pierces BKB, but they might make a move onto Tide. I don't think they can kill Tide, though. Kraken Shell, yeah, they need to commit several of their heroes to bring him down, and while Tide is pushing in this top lane, his team is grouped up at the bot looking for something. Dire scanning. They know that nobody's here. Radiant, meanwhile, scanning up at the top lane, seeing if Tidehunter is still farming that camp. But Kruger and Gallo hitting this tower. Young Mouse also here now, and they kill this tower pretty quick. Fortification available. They may want to save it for high ground. I would think that's probably the better play, is to just save your fort for high ground since the Shaman Wards are coming up soon. Tidehunter needs to make his way towards bot if they really want to go up at this high ground, though. Death Prophet is back. This is a quick way to throw the game. A 4v5 fight at the bot lane going up high ground. You have an Aegis, but they have an Enigma with a Black Hole. In 20 seconds, they throw down the Shaman Wards, so they get farmed up very, very quickly. Bloodright coming out as well. The Rupture onto Adifex. Adifex getting charged. Now the Spirit Break going in deep. They're diving into the Macro Power. Man, this Razor getting so low so fast. He's just going to go down. The Omni Slash coming out in the back. Jin going to go down to the right click at the end of that Omni Slash. Itachi throws himself in the air, but gets hexed out. And the Death Strike finishes him off as well. Jakiro buying back. Death Prophet buying back. And now the tower getting beat down. I don't know if they can do this with Natiak here. The Ice Path coming up, but it doesn't connect. The Black Hole catches on 3 heroes, unable to cancel it though. Yes, they do. The Shackle coming out and a beautiful effort, but it's not enough. They don't have the Epicenter yet either. They Ravage catches on 4. So much damage. And now Itachi draining, keeps himself alive. So much health, but it's not going to matter. Nico's going to go down as well. Jin on the run. And it looks like he's going to die. And GG just called at the end. Jin. They tried so hard, but it just didn't matter in the end. Some excellent Black Holes, but we never got to see the end of them. And they just Radiant just couldn't put all the pieces together for their draft to work properly. And Tim, Bloodseeker, despite rough lanes in the top and the bot lane, he created a lot of space for his team and heavy impact, as did the Spirit Breaker. Fantastic performance from both sides, but Tim just able to get more out of their draft. And we'll see how DD decide to rebuttal, come back in the second game that is coming up here in just a minute.